Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are today. Welcome to the INIFAC Truly Expo. Today, we're going to be talking about rebuilding guest confidence and the touchless experience. So I want to introduce all our panelists today and myself. My name is Ritu Rani P, and I have with us today Ken Patel, who is the CEO of EV Hotel Groups. I also have Faustino Fernández, who is the founder and CEO of Stay My Way, and Miraj Patel, who's the president at Wayside Investment Group. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to have all of my esteemed panelists speak about themselves for 1 to 2 minutes, and then I'll go into why the touchless experience is so critical to the evolving shape of hospitality. So I guess I can start. You know my name. I am the Executive Vice President of Sperry Commercial Global Affiliates based out of Boca Raton, Florida. And I deal mostly with hospitality and multifamily projects, both from the investment side and the disposition side, ground up developments, as well as existing. And a lot of the stuff that we look for is why a hotel is failing, what's a good acquisition. So I see a lot of this from the management perspective, what's working, what's not working, and really looking to identify what makes a successful hospitality product. Clearly from the real estate side, but a lot of the other management things do come into play as well. So we do a lot of that, and we work with the capital markets, both equity raises, funding, all sorts of stuff for ground up development as well as existing. So in addition to that, I am the commercial chair of ARIA, which is the Asian Real Estate Association of America, and so that's the National Commercial Chair, and the president-elect for the Miami chapter of the International Real Estate Federation, which is FIAPSI, and they're based out of France. So with that, I will hand it over to Ken Patel, who's the CEO of EV Hotel Groups. And Ken, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, first most, thank you, Ritu, and thank you, InfoPack, for having me on this panel. I'm the CEO, founder of EV Hotel Group, originally from New York City, but I reside in Atlanta, Georgia now for the last few years. But I was in New York City for about over 30 years. I've got my MBA from Emirates Academy in Dubai, top 5 school in the world. And I've been in hospitality for now about 25 years in various roles. I was CEO for 7 years in New York City, VP of Operations, Chief Operating Operations, Regional Director of Operations, and so on. So I guess you could call me a hospitality lifer.
Okay, Ken, thank you for that. Faustino, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Ritu. As you said before, my name is Faustino Fernández. I am based in Spain, in Europe. We have founded a company 6 years ago that is Stay My Way, where we try to help hotels to roll out technologies, touchless technologies, as mobile key or biometric check-in, because it's something that is very important for the industry, for the hospitality sector, and it's something that now with the pandemic is growing the interest that the hotel and the guests are putting the focus on this kind of technology, because it's very important to fight against the pandemic.
Thank you so much, Faustino. Miraj, please tell us a little bit about yourself and Wayside.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having us here today. So I'm president of Wayside Investment Group. We are a privately held investment, development, construction management company based out of Houston, Texas. We specialize in making opportunistic investments in the lodging and hospitality real estate sector, owning both independent and branded hotels. I also serve as a board of director. I recently got elected onto the world's largest hotel owners association, which is AHOA, the Asian American Hotel Owners Association. I serve as the young professional director. And AHOA is a 19,500 member-based organization, which is now on the 32nd year, which owns almost 1 in every 2 hotels in the United States of America. So it's definitely the voice of the hotel industry. I also went to school in Johnson & Wales University there in Miami, Florida. Got my bachelor's degree in hotel and lodging management, and went ahead and got my master's as well. Did my business administration, and moved back home. And now taking the existing foundation, being a second generation hotelier, to greater heights.
Well, welcome, Miraj. Thank you so much. We were talking a little bit before the show. He came over to my neck of the woods to do his schooling, and I was actually in Texas to do mine. So it's a small world, and then I came back here. So, but welcome everyone. So I wanted to start and get really into the meat of the subject matter with Ken, and ask you, Ken, why do you think everybody has seen Ken Patel? If you've basically turned on, you've been on the internet in the last couple of weeks, you've been on every single show, you're everywhere. So I know people really value your opinion. Why do you think that touchless technology is playing such a large role in hospitality at this very moment, with the pandemic especially? What is it about the touchless technology that's so critical?
Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words, Ritu. I mean, I hear all of it all the time now. So I'm glad people are listening. But I mean, this is how I look at it. We have a lot of archaic systems and processes, and it's been happening for years and years. And there is not a single item on an owner's P&L that says technology. We need to change that. And when we talk about guestless technology itself, it's a demand now. It's part of a guest convenience item.
Right.
It's part of what the guests want. It's a guest demand and what the guests need. And especially now with what happened with the pandemic, and unfortunately people had to lose a lot of lives. And we had to change from the way our habits work, the way we started doing what we do in hospitality. I've been implementing technology now since 2012, 2013 in hospitality, even as CEO and COO of pretty large hospitality companies. And, I've always thought of, how do we lessen the workload for our employees, and how do we be more efficient for our guests? And for us to be more efficient, guestless technology has to have a play in hospitality. So it's really part of the guest convenience item.
Okay. Specifically, when I think of touchless technology, I'm thinking of stuff like voice control. I'm thinking of mobile check-in, which I know Faustino's company does. It focuses on that. QR codes, like being able to pick up stuff from the kiosk and not have to talk to or exchange money, exchange credit cards, all of that stuff. Out of stuff like that, what do you think is the most important aspect of touchless technology? Like, is there one specific thing that you think is a big driver, or is it just everything?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, why don't we ask Amazon and Google, that we're probably going to be working with very soon, is it's the virtual assistant aspect. It's the chatbots. It's now these days, we have to be more effective and more efficient. And the way we do it is, we can't have those problem resolutions that we were working on in service recovery aspects of things and see that it's going to take 5 minutes. It's going to take 10 minutes.
Right.
It's got to be a quick resolution within 90 seconds. That's the model we have at EV, especially with EV Human. It's a 90-second model. And that is what we want to do, is where the guest is basically going to be able to get their issues, or even their questions or their requests, in their own terms.
Right.
Not on our terms, in their terms.
Okay. Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome.
Faustino, same question for you. Why do you think touchless technology is so critical right now in the role of hospitality? And which which feature do you think is the most important, or is it everything?
Yeah, basically because I think when I think as a guest, to can go directly to my room, skipping reception desk, or doing all the things that I have to do as a guest through my smartphone is a dream for the guest. And
Right.
as hotelier, all the dreams of my guests can be my dreams. And in this sense, I think that the hospitality have to offer this kind of experience to the guests. But there are a lot of problems when a hotel wants to roll up this kind of technologies. For example, in terms of security, in terms of check bags, these kind of things. And technology is the best chance, is the best tool to can roll up this kind of technology without problems in security and without problem for your guests. For this reason, I think that as hotelier, we have to offer, we can offer this kind of experience to the guests using technology without problems.
Okay, but from a guest perspective, you think that this is something that the guests want. It's not just what the management wants to do. It's something that's really guest driven, or do you think it's more management driven, that this touchless, I don't want to say revolution, but
yeah, I think that it's better for both, because if our guests want to live this kind of experience, the hotel that can offer this kind of experience is going to grow in terms of reservation. And I think that for corporates, as executives, salesperson that are every day in the street, and the last things that they want when they arrive to a hotel is to do a line. They love to go directly to your rooms. I think that the hotels that can offer this kind of experience are going to have a big success.
Okay, thank you, Faustino. Miraj, so from your perspective, I know you come more from the investment side with your group. How do you feel that the touchless experience affects your decisions on whether to purchase, or what do you think are the most important parts of this technology that are going into your perspective and of how to go about what you do?
So I think this whole technology wave has been a topic for a while now. It's not because of the pandemic. It's been talked about in the last 5 to 6 years. And a lot of these shows like High Tech and all these conferences that we would go to, and being a young professional, being a millennial hotelier, second generation, we're always looking to find ways to be ahead of the competition, right? We want to not shy away from the technology. In fact, we want to embrace that technology. But what we have seen is that, over the years, people have drilled that human interaction, right? The whole purpose behind hospitality is the face-to-face interaction. Like when I was studying in University of Johnson & Wales University, it was drilled into us about, you have to interact with the guests. And at that time, when this technology wave was being discussed, the professors would shy away from it. Like, no, that's not the point of hospitality. Hospitality is face-to-face interaction. So whether you put a kiosk and all, it'll change the way we do business, right? But I would be the only one to argue in the class, right? I would say, being on the, obviously owning and operating hotels, I know that one of the biggest things on the P&L is salary and wages, right? It's gone out of the roof. It's become an extremely big line item. So what's other ways to limit that? And having kiosk and having all these other technology waves that came in. I mean, service apps or service robots that's come into hotels, Bluetooth locks, controlled thermostats, all these items that have started to being rolled out. I think owners and operators are now trying to embrace that, because we saw that we had to get creative in the pandemic. We had to not only save on our expenses, but find a way to increase our revenue. And I think technology is the way to go moving forward if we want to continue to build that guest loyalty, that excitement. And another thing is that the traveler aspect, right? Majority of the travelers are now millennials. So you have to start to cater to them. Otherwise, you're going to be in the back of the bus when it comes to staying competitive in your comp set.
Thank you. Thank you, Miraj. Ken, I want to go back to you, and I would like everyone to talk a little bit more about their companies and why, they're on the cutting edge. So from my understanding, your EV Human software, it's a technology that, it touches all aspects, not just the touchless aspect, which, I want you to specifically, since that is the topic of this panel, go into a little bit more. But what is so cutting edge, and how, tell me all of the different areas your technology is really encompassing, and how it's going to make it easier, not only for, the guest, which we've all talked about, it's the guest experience, the guest is asking for this, but from the management perspective also, so that they can be happier managers serving the guest. Because a lot of what I see on the acquisition side is that, there's a huge breakdown on the management side, unhappy employees, all of that. And that's one of the reasons why a hotel is not doing well. Part of that is because of the infrastructure that's there. So if you can tell me a little bit more about, EV Human, and then we'll move on to Faustino, and he can tell us a little bit more about his company and how it's going to solve this problem for both perspectives.
Yeah, so I will kind of go into where right now we are, especially EV Hotel Group. We created EV Human, and EV Hotel Group is now the fastest growing hospitality company in the world in the last 4 months alone. And with the EV Human project, it is the world's first ever hospitality all-in-one software solution. There's 4 phases. The first phase is all about guest-facing technology. Phase 2 is all about back office solutions and back office operations. Then phase 3 is focused on the AI integrations. And then phase 4 is for the full service properties, hotels and resorts. One of the features in phase 4 is the autonomous valet service that we're partnering up with Lucid Motors on. But the phase 1, yes, that's a very big, that comes from my Dubai connection, I guess. But the phase 1 actually is all about the guest-facing technology. So you've got your complete check-in model, digitalized reg cards, 24 hours prior check-in, digitalizedly scan the card, scan the ID, and analytic questions that would focus on cost-effective models for ownership and the hoteliers themselves. And then it's got the world's first ever social media platform for hospitality, autonomous service recovery, autonomous tipster for digital wallet. What else do we have? We have so much. I mean, I would probably sit here just for phase 1. And we have almost over 100 hotels ready to rock and roll. And it's not only that we're implementing the software, we're also the management side. And at that aspect, with the software, we're the only company that guarantees a 42% over on GOP and under 20% on the labor. So we have a staffing solution. We've also came out with a model of controlling the MPRs for hotels. So the industry average has always been 26 to 28 minutes. We've lowered that to 18 to 19 minutes on the MPR. So we've taken all the problematical solutions that we've had in this industry for numerous amount of years.
Right.
And especially with my experience, we've turned them into solutions. So the first phase on EV Human will be released in June. That's where all the owners, everybody's so excited. And I think you probably see, and everybody else see, the amount of shows that I've been doing, whether it's Sarah Danashi or No Vacancy, or even CNBC in a few months that I'll be doing. So, this is a big innovation for this industry. We have to get rid of the archaic systems and processes and the old archaic way of how people are operating, and even the management companies that were operating. We got to get their old ways out. It's got to be the new way of hospitality, or, Airbnb is going to keep taking 30% of our revenue like they have during the pandemic. So there has to be, we've done what we've done with EV Human is no longer 8 to 9 softwares at hotels, whether it's CRMs, payroll management, labor management, and all of this is integrated. So there's no human data needed anymore. So they're integrated. There's direct integrations in there.
Sounds very exciting. We're looking forward to seeing release the first release of phase 1.
Oh, I think over 100 some hotels. We got probably 200 coming very soon. So, you know, and I say it's a very rapid pace right now. It's over expectations.
Well, that sounds very exciting, Ken. Faustino, so you're based in Europe, and tell me a little bit more about your software, Stay My Way, because from my understanding, you've got the critical, the check-in, that's number 1, and the room key, number 2. Tell me what your software does and what you're seeing, in Europe, what the demands are, and how it's affecting the guest side and the management side.
Yeah, we have a solution that makes hardware and software, because 6 years ago, when we founded the company, it was because we detect that the hotels want to roll out mobile key solution. That means that the guests can open or access to the room with their smartphone. And when a hotel wants to roll out this kind of technology, they go to the lock manufacturer and say, hey, I want a lock that can be opened through a smartphone. And the lock manufacturer say, yeah, I have a lock that can be opened through a smartphone. You have to change your locks, your current locks, and install a new one. And in the 1990...
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to ask you if it's through Bluetooth technology or some other technology.
Bluetooth technology.
Okay, so that can be hacked.
Yeah, and in the 90% of the cases, the hotel manager say, okay, I'm not going to change something that is working correctly, right? And he never roll out this kind of technology. And we say, or we think, or we thought, okay, if the hoteliers wants mobile key solution or wants to roll out this kind of technology, but they want to do it without changing the locks, why? Or let's go to develop a solution that let to the hotel roll out this kind of technology without changing the locks, okay? And we have developed a small boards, hardware boards, that send to the hotels, the hotel plug into the lock, and that means that the lock can be opened through a smartphone, through Bluetooth. The car is still working correctly, and our boards are fully compatible with all the lock manufacturers, right? And that means that a hotel that use our technology can roll out this kind of technology just in 1-2 days, because it's very, very easy, and it's even 8 times cheaper than a new lock, right? And obviously, we mix this technology with biometric checking. What is a biometric checking? But it's very simple. Is that the hotel, once the hotel decide that their guests can go directly to their room, skipping reception desk, they have to be sure that the person who did the reservation is the same person that arrived to the hotel. And the unique way to do it is through a kiosk or through an app or web app. That means that when the guests arrive to the hotel and when the guests try to open their room for first time, we activate the camera of their smartphone or the kiosk, and we do a face matching recognition between the face that the smartphone is seeing and the person who did the first check-in. And if he's the same person, we open the room. That means that we create an extra security layer that led to the hotels roll out this kind of technology, touchless technology, mobile key technology, biometric technology, without have any problem in terms of security, and increase the experience of the guest.
And do you feel that from the management perspective, this is also something that's that the managers are liking, or is it just, this is something that the guests want?
Yeah, obviously, all the value in this kind of experience are from the side of the guests. But for first time, the hoteliers or the reception desks or the receptionist can spend time to talk with the guests, not just to take their credit card, collect all the data of the guests, this kind of thing. For first time, the receptionist can spend time to explain to the guest what kind of things he can do in the hotel, what kind of things he can do in the city where is the hotel. For this reason, I think that is great for both sides.
Okay, so it's letting the management do more of the hospitality portion and less
Yeah.
of the tedious stuff through that kiosk. Okay.
Yeah.
Miraj, so from, I guess, the investment perspective, what are your thoughts on the touchless experience for the guests?
So I think now more than ever, we need to work diligently as an industry to ensure labor resources from basic housekeeping to managerial positions. So because we also understand that we need to strategize on incentivizing occupancy at all of our hotels, as without heads in beds, we're going to suffer significant losses. And one way to do that is by implementing some of these technology rollouts that have come out, because what we have gone through now is that we need to, basically this industry was reset. We have to regain the trust of the travelers. We have to make sure that they feel safe. And in the pandemic, we acquired 3 hotels while the pandemic was happening. A lot of folks were asking me, why would you want to do it? We're trying to sell our hotels. But obviously I know that anything that goes down will go back up, vice versa. We've seen the trends before. So part of the thing that we saw was like, one example, we acquired one hotel at the airport and we repositioned it into a Best Western. And while we were doing the full repositioning, I saw the PIP, which is a property improvement plan. And, some of the things that I saw that they haven't rolled out, but they're kind of pushing me to do it soon. So I got the hint that this is what's coming next. And one of them was the Bluetooth locks, right? As Fernando mentioned, that a lot of the hoteliers want it, but because you have to change out your locks, it's a pretty big line item, so they don't want to do it because you try to save the locks as much as possible. Even though the brand is not requiring it yet, they kind of gave me the indication that since you're changing it out already, the entire hotel, go ahead and implement this. So we have that Bluetooth ready to go. Now we're just going to wait for the brand to require it, which all the brands are now, I think, going to start to mandate these types of things so that it becomes a factor of regaining that trust. Same thing with kiosk. I mean, I don't know, I think Ken might know, but Rajiv Trivedi, who was one of the executives for La Quinta, after he retired, he went on and he's invested in a company called Verdi, which is a kiosk system that I'm pretty sure some of these companies are going to start to become brand mandates because they study what the guests want. And I think we're going to be having to start putting these into our hotels to stay competitive and to build that confidence all over again.
Right. Ken, do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, what? On what?
On what Miraj just said about the brands putting
Yeah, I
in-
mean, I speak to global heads daily, like with Hilton and Marriott, just because, I have this relationship with them due to the fact that I've built, over 10, 15 Hiltons and Marriotts and IHGs. And, you have both of them that have the digital key, right? And IHG will follow suit. And I believe all the other brands will follow suit because this is an item that the guest wants. It's went so well. And I think the number one brand to have this digital key aspect that has just conquered it is Hilton. Hilton, you can actually go right directly to your room. With Marriott, you still have to show your ID as a Bonvoy member. But with Hilton being a Hilton Honors member, you don't have to go to the front desk. You can go directly to the room itself. Mm-hmm. And I believe the brands will definitely follow suit. I have a call with the Ascendant vice president in the next few days. And, this is a hot topic. It's definitely a hot topic. The locks are going to change. Whether you're a safe lock person or you're a non-entity person, whatever it is, you're going to have to change to that Bluetooth technology. Any new builds that are happening are required to go to that Bluetooth technology. And it might be optional right now. I don't know outside of Marriott, Hilton, and IHG, but I see it probably happening in the next 12 to 18 months. especially as we're talking about touchless experience here and touchless technology. Now
Right.
that you don't have numerous amount of people touching that lock.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that to me is like the first thing is the check-in and the room entry. So, both of you have talked a little bit about the different brands. How about the independents? Do you see the independents doing this on their new builds from the get-go, or spending all the money to retrofit? Do you recommend that they do it now? I mean, I always do when I'm seeing hotels and I'm evaluating, land deals and all of that, and looking at what's failing and why it's failing. I think investing in technology is critical to, getting a higher revenue out of the existing hotel or the new hotel. So do you see independent brands adopting this sooner rather than later?
Well, I would say to that, I mean, I've spoken to David Kong with Best Western. I think it was like 6-7 months ago, because we met at a convention a long time ago. And we talk on LinkedIn, and I said, David, I mean, what holds you guys back from doing this? He's like, we're a membership program and we have to get the approval of the owners. And I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I understand it's a line item on a P&L, but let's really talk about the guest expectations here. Right. How would your brand increase year over year on revenue? How do you create better exposure? To have items like this, guests want technology. I mean, that's what they want. They want what they have at home, right? Why do they have Ring? Why do they have technology door locks? My house has a door lock that I can open with my phone, any door lock in my entire house. So I want the same thing when I go to a hotel. I don't want somebody to touch that door lock, whether it's a general manager, housekeeper, engineer, whoever it is. If they were to touch it, do I know they cleaned it afterwards? So now this is what the guest thought process is. So I think you're going to see it sooner than later, most definitely. I'm not going to speak about all the brands, but the most prominent ones, I do see them making that change sooner than later.
Right, but how about the non-branded? Faustino, Miraj, do you see the non-branded hotels?
I think they're going to catch on earlier than the brands. I think most of the hotels that are independent already started to roll those out to stay ahead of the brands. So I think we're going to start seeing the independent hotels catch on to these types of trends prior to the brand, because there's a lot of hurdles that brands have to go through, right? I mean, the independent hotelier can make his own decision based on what they want to do and what they want to implement. Whereas in brands would have to go through a whole process of screening, getting that approval. If it's a membership-based organization like Best Western, they have to get the members' approval. If it's one of the other brands, a lot of hoteliers will resist. A lot of them would ask for waivers. A lot of them would ask for some time not to do it just because because I think they don't realize it yet, right? They don't realize that, me implementing, Bluetooth locks is going to, make me more money in the long term. They don't see it yet, right? They look at it as, I have to implement this right now, and it's going to cost me whatever that amount is. And that's a pretty significant amount on my P&L. But they don't realize that moving forward in the next 3 to 5 years, I'll recoup that money because of more demand coming into the hotel. So I think it's educating hotel owners and operators on what types of implementation will make you money, save you money, in fact, either too.
Now, Faustino, I want to ask you, every time I go to Europe, I feel like a lot of the older, more charming hotels, I still get that key, which I have to use, open the door, and then I have to give it to the front desk on the way out, the big, beautiful, old, and I feel like I've gone back in time. Tell me, what are your thoughts on this and your technology? And then we have questions coming in. I have 2 questions for you from our viewers also, which I'm going to ask you afterwards.
Yeah, obviously we have solution or there are solutions for all the situation. Obviously, there are ones that are expensive than others, but our idea is always to try to update the existing fees that there is that there are in the hotel. If the hotel has electronic locks, we can use it, and if the hotel hasn't got this kind of lock and they they have mechanical key, we can offer other solution that is still being cheaper than a new lock. But the most important thing is that the touchless technologies are here, because one of the things that I love of my job is that I can, for example, this morning I was talking with a small hotel in Louisiana, and in this afternoon I'm going to talk with a big chain, and that means that the mobile key is very, very important for both.
Right.
And I am totally agree with my colleagues that the big chain, as Marriott and Hilton did this job in the past and is working now. Other big chain are doing this change now to mobile key, but the small hotels and independent hotels are going to be the faster ones, because they don't have to answer to a CEO or to a lot of different departments. For the reason I think that they can save a lot of money and time if they roll out these kind of technologies as soon as possible.
One of the questions from our viewers, Aaron has a question for you, Faustino. Do you have an example of a case study where you've installed your system in the existing infrastructure? And what other solutions does your company provide?
Yeah, if we talk in terms of use, because there is a big discussion in hospitality that is not everybody download apps in industry. It's very difficult that I guess download an app of a hotel. But when you install a mobile key solution in a hotel, the mobile key works like a hook in terms of download the apps. And that means that when you roll out this kind of experience for the guests, that means that they can go directly to the room, skipping reception desk. The people begin to use the apps, and the ratio of download of the app or the use is around between 60% and 73%, more or less, depending of the type of hotel.
Got it. Thank you. One other question from a guest for Faustino. Do you have any other solutions involving smart switches that operate smartphones to control your lights or your AC?
Yeah, we have added to our solution energy safe system, because it's something that is very important for the hotels, that they want to reduce their footprint, and it's something that we worked very, very hard to develop a solution that switch off the energy when the guests leave from their room or leave from their apartment.
And I want to switch over to Ken also. Does your software, I believe, has this solution as well being implemented to turn on lights, AC, in addition to the locks, correct?
Yeah, because not in USA, but in Europe, it's very usual that you have a key holder that you use to switch on the lights and the air conditioner.
Right. So I was asking, Ken, does your software also do the same thing and more, or how is it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just like I said in the beginning, anything that we currently have in hospitality, and that's why we're speaking with Amazon and Google, the software itself has a whole guest portal, right? It's where you scan the QR code once you get to the hotel, and now you're in the guest portal. Now it will operate just like the connected room with Hilton. It will operate as to what IHG's currently got with their smart room and Marriott's got with their smart rooms. Mm-hmm. It'll do all of that. Plus it's got the communication tool, and with the social media platform, it connects the hotel guests to the employees. So when we talk about this smart innovation that the hotels did years ago, whether it's with the thermostats, now it's live streaming to the TVs. So we have to have this integration in effect, right? We have, and we're doing a lot more than that. We've actually taken even 3 steps forward to do it that way. And this is kind of what I've learned from the industry, as, I don't have anybody else in my family in the industry. They're in the medical field. I'm the only hotel guy. And I have learned from being a front desk agent to all the way to being a CEO of a major company is I look at it, what do the guests want? What do the guests feel that they want? And how do we make sure the guest expectations are at this level, not here, not here, over here. And for that to happen, we have to operate with more of better processes. And to what they get at home is what they should get in their hotel room. Doesn't matter what it is. They need to get the exact same thing in the hotel room.
Feel comfortable.
Yes, and I mean it's all about that, right? Our software is not only about myself or the owners. It's about our employees, it's about our guests, it's about the owners, it's about every single person that's in hospitality.
Right. I have two more questions and we have about 2 minutes. So one is for Miraj. The question from the user is, does AHOA have any guidelines that speak to technology requirements for hotels so that they can help guide, their members on what to do? Or currently, is there nothing?
So currently, what AHOA does is, I mean, we've hosted a ton of webinars and a ton of events at our conferences and regionals, but because obviously we stopped having these events due to the pandemic, they've hosted so many webinars. And in fact, we've never seen this much interaction between the membership and AHOA than the pandemic. And I think a lot of the topics have been very technology driven because that's what everybody wanted to hear. So I don't think we necessarily have guidelines, but I think we do have that educational platform and resource to give you what you're looking for. So you can share them my email address and I can contact them directly with our AHOA staff members who work very hard to ensure that some of these guidelines or whatever some of this education is given to them.
Okay, thank you, Miraj. Now this is for anyone. Security on the internet. How are these Bluetooth technologies in protecting guest information? So Faustino or Ken, do you want to take that?
It's a good question. And obviously, one of the most important things right now is the privacy. And the hotels have to take on mind that once the guests give to the hotel things like the picture of their passport or a picture of the selfie, this is a very, very privacy info, and they have to be sure that nobody can access to this information just when the hotel needs or when the guests needs. In fact, we offer to the guests a purge tool that led to the hotels remove all this information in case that the guests regard that they want that the hotel doesn't have this information.
Mm-hmm. Ken, do you want to add 20 seconds?
Yeah. I mean, we're not saving any data. So with EV Human, there's no data saved at all. Even we're going with push notifications instead of text messaging. So I feel that the guest is right on this. There is a big privacy thing. I mean, that's why Google, Facebook, and Instagram and all these companies are facing what they're facing when it comes to legal battles. So, we wanted to make sure that the safety is #1 priority, and that's kind of what we've done. But, I think the industry is going to head towards that. They're going to have to find out, as to the hacks with Marriott that have happened and things of that nature. So there's no real solution to that at this point, but obviously don't take data.
Thanks, Ken. With that, I just want to introduce Abhishek from the InnoFact Truly Expo conference to give a few words about the conference itself.
Thanks, Ritu. Thanks a lot. You did a great show. And I would like to thank Miraj, Ken, Faustino, and Ritu for being available for this webinar. I would like to really thank all the participants for being present and asking interesting questions, and all the speakers sharing their experiences coming from the US region as well as European region, right? It was really great, and especially hearing that how exactly technology is transforming hospitality and entertainment industry at this time, right? So I really appreciate and thank all of you. On the same note, I would like to introduce you to the InnoFact show. So first of all, this is Abhishek. I am the founder of Truly Expo. At Truly Expo, when we started working on this project, we thought that it is very important to transform the event industry. Not only the way the physical industries have been taking place, but we thought that the virtual exhibition or virtual event industry would set the new normal for the industry. And when we started thinking that what should be the first industry we should have the event executed, the hospitality and entertainment industry had been close to our heart. And we saw that this is the industry which is going to get disruption the most, right? And on that note, the InnoFact show came into picture and went into life. So the first installment of the InnoFact show is going to happen on June 8th and 9th, targeted for the US market. And I really welcome all of you to be part of it. So let me take a quick minute to share a small introductory video of the show, and over to you. Just give me 1 second. Let me share a quick screen and share a small video. Is the screen visible? Ritu, can you see that?
Yes, I can see it. It's a black screen, but we can see it.
Yep, I know. Here you go. Thank you. Thank you. And I really look forward for your participation and contribution towards the InnoFact show. Welcome. Thank you. So thanks to all the visitors. I guess here we end our first webinar. I really appreciate everybody's contribution and sincere thanks to all of you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Abhishek.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Ritu.
Bye.
Thanks, and thanks,
Thank
Miraj. Thanks, Faustino.